And here we are, back. Sorry about the little delay, but, I just playing around, talking with my guest who just called in. We got Mr. Jamey Pacheco of Babylon AD, the great Babylon AD. We got him here. And Jamey, sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Does everything sound okay? Am I too loud, or you got any background noise? Everything good?
Everything's good, man.
Oh, awesome. Great. Well, everybody knows that you're calling in. At least, I let everyone know. And there's some people that actually live back east. They're asking me if I can post this later so they can listen, because they can't hear it live, which I understand. So I'm working on that. I'm archiving the show, and then I'm going to download it or hook it up to my flash drive, and then we'll go from there. So hopefully everything will work out to where I can post it later so they can hear you. So here's this great interview we have with us right now. This is Titan Metal, and I'm your host, Lyle. My nickname and my DJ name is Lyle Style. It just seems to fit. And we got the great Jamey Pacheco, the drummer, songwriter, and co-founder of the great Babylon AD. I keep saying great because they are. I love them, and I have for years, and I will continue to for the rest of my life. I have him here on the phone, so just want to, first of all, thank you for calling in. Thank you for being my guest. It means the world to me, so let it loose, brother. How's it going?
Man. My pleasure. My pleasure.
So what's the story, brother? How's everything going?
Things are going great. We right now, Babylon AD's in pre-production. We are currently writing a bunch of new songs, and man, we are on an amazing creative roll right now too. We are shaking out so many new ideas. We could barely even book enough practice just to get our ideas done. But yeah, we got some good stuff coming up. Pretty blown away by the productivity that we've been putting out, the last few months here.
Yes, that's great to hear. I had heard something along the line when I came up there a couple of months ago. I'd heard something about how you're working, because I was bugging somebody. I forgot who it was, bugging somebody about you guys coming down here to SoCal, and they had told me that you were working on a new album and everything. And I'm like, really? Cool. Okay, well, I'll just wait for that, whichever.
Yeah. Like I said, a record takes a long time to make, especially, when you're, shaking out ideas for new tunes and stuff. And, and then after we've come up with several songs, and, then it comes down to choices, and then from choices, then it goes, going into the studio and recording stuff, and and all that, and then it goes into production, manufacturing, that kind of thing, and so the process is quite long,
Yes.
So.
Now, what I wanted to ask you was about, like, when you were making Revelation Highway, which came out last year. How did it feel making that album and then putting it out and then going on a tour and doing all that? It'd been a while since your last studio record, since American Blitzkrieg, if I remember correctly. So how did that all feel, getting together with everybody and putting out a brand spanking new album and going from there?
Well, we kind of went through a little bit of a transition right there. Having John come back into the band, and, Danny wanted to go and work his solo stuff, and so having John back in the band and, just kind of diving in and getting the feel back with him and stuff was, that part of the process was just amazing. I mean, I got to say, recording Revelation Highway from the moment John walked back into the studio and we started rehearsing until, the last track I cut, it was one of the best times we had together in the studio. It was fun, and there was a good vibe, and it was just super productive session, and I'm really proud about the outcome of that record too, because you could really feel, that vibe and just the band personality just, oozing out, the speakers when you listen to all the songs. And every song on that record is really great. So I really enjoyed playing. I mean, we play all the songs. Pretty much we played all those songs live, maybe except about one or two. But no, it was a good productive process, and it was a lot of fun too, because we've done records before where they're brutal. I mean, the pre-production and just the process has been brutal, and then sometimes it's a lot of fun, But this record just had all the ingredients, and the outcome is what you hear. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
I met John a couple of years ago when I came up there for your last Swiss Park performance and at what do you call it, Horse Fest. I met him there, and it was kind of a chance meeting. I was over there across the street at a gas station pounding some tall boys with my buddy, and then all of a sudden, John walks by, and I'm like, "Are you in one of the bands?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Are you Lyle?" Because he was in Four Horsemen, and I got the tickets from Mark in Four Horsemen.
Right.
And he's like, yeah. And it was kind of funny how I was talking to him, and then he was telling me about how he was in Bad, and I'm like, "Wow, you mean back in the Persuaders days?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Wow, cool." So I talked to him, and then boom, he's back in the band. Danny exits and goes on his own, and then he comes back, and then it's like I said, the whole record is amazing. I mean, I like Tears already from in the beginning, or from the beginning, yeah, from 2006. I already like that song, but the new version is really, really good, and I've played it here on my show, and I really love it. But Saturday Night was the song that I played every single week last semester. It was like on my weekly rotation, because that to me is like one of the most perfect hard rock party songs ever written. I just love that song.
Yeah, that song in Rags to Riches, we kind of unearthed some cassette tapes that we had. And everybody was kind of trying to gather up some of the obscure stuff that we didn't really throw down as demos way back in the day. And so I think Derek found like a live version of that at this club that we used to play called Nile Station all the time. And yeah, that was always a killer, But let me clarify a little something real quick. With Tears and some of the songs that were on that In the Beginning album.
Mm-hmm.
Those were demos, and I've read a couple of things in reviews and stuff about how we rehashed and stuff, and we really didn't, because what we were doing then is, think about it, we were 5 kids with $300, and we had to go throw down like 6 songs for the record company that was interested in us at that time, and we were just throwing ideas down, and so those songs really never really got a chance, they never really got the attention and the chance that they did, because we never really had an official studio version of that stuff, because those were meant to be demos. So we all felt those songs deserved a chance, and they're great tunes, and we did them the way they're supposed to be done. So that's why we wanted to include them on Revelation, is because of the fact that those were demos back then, and we got like a kind of a distribution little deal like a few years back, I think in 2005 or something like that, and we got some record distributors that were interested and stuff. So so we kind of let it go. We let it go back then because we wanted people to hear it. We didn't know that we would ever be recording them again, but there was a small run of those albums that were manufactured and stuff, and then then it stopped. There's only probably about, I don't know, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 of those things floating around, and so we wanted to make it official and really put some time into it, and those songs deserve that, because all those tunes are great songs.
Mm-hmm.
But getting back to Saturday Night and Rags to Riches, like I said, those were always in our set too, but we wrote those songs later, I think, after we submitted a bunch of stuff to the record company and we got a deal. But yeah, Highway was, like I said, what a great vibe and experience that was, collaborating with all my brothers and being able to, put something down that we're all super proud of,
Yeah, you should be super proud of it, because it's a great fucking record, straight up. That's just the way it is, brother. So I love that record, and like I said, I hear things, I see things. I mean, I'm not just a DJ, but I'm a fan. We all start out as fans. That's just the way it is. I personally, I don't care. I see something, I'm like, okay, whatever. That's their opinion. I don't care about your opinion. I love the record. Like I told you, I love Tears from In the Beginning. So when I heard the newer version that you put on Revelation Highway, I was just like, okay, this is great. This is freaking awesome. And so you guys do an amazing job, and you keep doing a good job. And you had, when you weren't doing Babylon, you were working with Ron in the band Serum, and then of course Derek has his solo stuff, and everybody's got things they got to do, but then you get back together with Bad, and it's like bam, I love it.
Yeah, I mean that's usually how it goes. I mean, everybody kind of has to go on their own and get their ideas out. Especially when they have solo stuff, because Derek, as you guys know, he's got a whole huge background, a big array of different types of songs, soul songs, rock songs, pop songs and stuff. And that wouldn't really even fit in the scope of Babylon. So, he puts out solo records every now and then, and they're amazing. I mean, the guys, we're pretty blessed to have a lead singer with his capability and his songwriting capability too. I mean, he's a talented dude, and, he's just a nonstop machine that just constantly writes,
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, we're pretty blessed to have him, as our singer and stuff, because good singers are hard to come by, especially guys that, start getting up there a little bit and stuff. And, he just keeps getting better, and I've known him since I was 15 years old, and that's when I first met him and Rob when I was 15. And, he just continues to get better, and, yeah.
Well, when I ask you a couple other questions real quick, now who are your biggest influences? And then the next question is, how old were you when you got your first kit, your drum kit?
Well, I think our influences, we're lucky that we live here in the East Bay, in San Francisco Bay Area, but we're from the East Bay.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of have a certain type of sound, it's just way more hard rock. We come from the school of, Montrose, Y&T, Tesla, Night Ranger. Those are our local guys. But, we also love stuff like, Zeppelin, UFO, and Motown Soul too, I mean, you can kind of hear that kind of stuff in, just with the groove and the swing of some of the songs that we do. But yeah, we're lucky to be living where we're living because, the Bay Area has just got an amazing array of talent that, that we kind of pull from and stuff, And
let me make sure go ahead. I'm sorry. Keep going.
But you asked when I got my first drum set.
Yeah. How old were you when you got your first drum kit?
Shit, I think I was coming out of 8th grade, going the freshman year. So I was about 14, 15 years old or something like that. Not 15, probably like 13 or 14. 14, and then I remember my parents got me a drum set for 8th grade graduation, I think, or something like that, and kind of beat the fuck out of that. And then I told my dad, I'm going to need something that's going to get me a record deal someday, And that Christmas, my dad bought me my Black Tama drum set that I still played it as of today, and it's been on a lot of recordings and stuff. And I've had that drum set ever since, But yeah, I was coming out of 8th grade, going into high school, And that summer I played my ass off, and before I knew it, I was playing the clubs. And after I started playing I was only playing for about a year, and that's when I met Derek and Rob, and got my first professional band when I was like 15, and I was playing. Actually, my mom and dad used to have to take me to all the gigs because I was too young to get in, obviously. And when the guys were when we were backstage and getting ready, I used to have to get ready in the kitchen at certain venues and stuff, and be like chaperoned by my mom and dad, to go to some of these gigs and stuff. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when we were talking a couple of months ago, John Bonham is your hero drummer, right? He's like your.
Oh yeah. I mean, he is, and I mean, I'm not saying I play like that, but I mean, he inspires me, like, that's one of my biggest influences. But I also like other drummers like, Tommy Aldridge, Denny Tomasi in Montrose, Tony Brock and the Babies, Terry Bozzio, guys like that. They've always been a huge influence. I love Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee's an awesome drummer. I love the way he plays. I mean, I play a lot like him, and a lot of his licks always kind of been part of my arsenal,
yeah,
and stuff. And his style, his attitude, and his leadership. I just when I first saw him, he was pretty big influence as far as, just being the crazy ass motherfucking drummer of the band,
Speaking of Tommy Lee, this I got another question here for you. Who was it that decided, or how did you guys decide when you covered "Take Me to the Top" on the "Kickstart My Heart" tribute to Motley Crue album? Who decided on what song you were going to do? You did "Take Me to the Top."
I think Derek, I think because it was for like Vince Neil's Make-A-Wish Foundation or something. I think it was for his daughter or something who passed away, and that opportunity came down the pipe. I don't know how, but I think they gave us a couple of songs to choose from, and we picked that one.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out pretty cool. And that my brother actually played bass on that recording too. So
okay,
my brother
cool.
was in the band. My brother was in the band at that time. We, like I said, I think we got a list of a couple tunes, and we picked that, and they put it out, and yeah, it was kind of cool. It was you know what though, it was for a good cause, and we had no problem, putting it together and doing it ourselves. We recorded it ourselves, and it was pretty cool. Kind of kick-started, the beginning of American Blitzkrieg, the production of that record too, So
yeah, because it was during
cool.
that time frame, during that era. I remember it was like about the time "Live in Your Face" came out, or something, somewhere along that line.
Yeah.
Right on, cool. Well, I got another question for you, because I probably asked you this and I forgot. I've asked some of the other guys when I've talked to them. I've had Derek on here, I've had Ron on here, I've had Rob on here. So now I've got you. But what is your favorite song from Babylon?
I don't know. I have a few. I really like. I love playing Saturday Night. I mean, I'm glad that kind of we're playing that because the song's such a powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
But I also really dig playing Desperate live too, because the response we get. Desperate's a great tune, and that song never really had a chance. That song got buried within a bunch of record company red tape, so to speak, and it really never had a chance. But when we play it live, it gives me the chills every time we play it. Every time we play it, I always think to myself, man, this might be the last time I play this song. So it better be fucking good.
Desperate is one of the greatest rock ballads I've ever heard, and I'm telling you that not just because you're here on the air with me. And I told Derek the same thing when he called in. Because I remember he covered it on his solo album Revolt, and then the band Baton Rouge, they covered it, and I just, it's such a badass fucking song, and I don't know why. Derek said that up there. I think he said that on the at the Compound show that it got buried and that you guys wanted to put it out, and then the record company was saying no, the album's already like a year old or something, so let's move on, or somewhere along that line, I guess. But I don't understand why. It's a great song. It's just straight up, and it's great.
It was supposed to be probably our third single. It should have been really our second single, but they were trying to create like more of a rock street, kind of Guns N' Roses type of thing, where it was kind of street level hard rock, and they didn't really want to do a ballad like everyone else was doing at the time, which was a stupid mistake. But we were going to release it third, and we were getting ready to do it, and then all of a sudden, that thing for RoboCop 2 came up, and we did that. We did Kid Goes Wild, and they thought, for sure that because RoboCop 1 was such a big hit that that was a no-brainer, and then we were going to slide right into Desperate right after that. But RoboCop 2 wasn't as big as they thought it was going to be, and they kind of gave up on it, and we're just going, shit, this is the whole reason why you guys fucking signed us in the first place, it's because this one song was it, I mean, Clive Davis just flipped out when he heard that song, and that was it, I mean, of course, the rest of that record is brilliant too, but Desperate was our freaking, our ace in the hole, so to speak, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm, exactly. Like I said, it's a great song. It should be your ace in the hole because it's one of, like I said,
one of the other songs I like playing live though with the band too. When Danny was in the band, is that song "Bad Blood." It's just got a really cool, funky Aerosmith, shake groove to it, and it was always a great song to play live. And It always went over great too. So that song was a lot of fun to play live too. So, probably, I mean, I really don't have a song that I don't like to play by the band. I mean, I enjoy playing all of them. And I know all the guys do feel the same way. We got a lot of choices, we got a lot of good songs. So, it's really hard to really nail down like one song, that one song in particular that's my favorite. But those are the three I just mentioned. I got it probably in my top 10 easily.
Oh, great. Well, no, because for a number of years it was The Kid Goes Wild for me, because that's what turned me on to the band. Okay, the Bango the Bells was released first. I think that was your first single ever released, and then
no, it actually
Hammer Swings Down.
Hammer was.
Oh,
Hammer,
okay.
Yeah, then Bang after that.
Well, I'm man enough to admit to you right here on the air that it was the Kid Goes Wild video. Even though you guys had already been out for a little while, it was when I saw the video when you and Derek were on Headbangers Ball, and I was like, what the hell? Who are these guys? I'm like, holy shit! And I'm sitting there, I'm like da 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 da, and I'm like going crazy. And then the next day, I went and bought the album. Literally the next day, because it was a Saturday night, and I bought it on a Sunday. I remember exactly what I did. And then that was it. I was hooked. And so then I had to wait around. I didn't get to see you live then, and I had to wait around for Nothing Sacred. Didn't get to see you live then. The first time I got to see you live was almost 3 years ago at the Whiskey Show. And when you guys came out on stage, started with Back in Babylon, I was in another world. Literally, it just like a dream come true for me at the time, and it still is.
Yeah. It's always fun playing at the Whiskey too, man. It's the LA vibe down there on the Strip. It's always cool. It doesn't matter when you play. It's just always it's a great venue to see a band at.
Now, I'm going to ask you one more question. I'll let you go. When you were, say, like, here you are, you're a drummer, you're in a band, and all that good stuff. But was there a particular band, or we'll even go deeper than that? Was there a particular song that you heard years and years ago when you were younger that just stuck in your head, and you told yourself, I want to do that. I want to go out and be a rock and roller. I want to play drums, or I want to do this or do that. Was there like something? Can you remember if there was like a certain band that did that to you, or maybe a certain song you heard that just?
Yeah, I was lucky enough. I was really young, probably 5th grade was my first concert, and I didn't even know who I was. I mean, I got to go to Led Zeppelin when I was a kid, and I went with my this guy on my baseball team. I was playing baseball at the time, and she was the team mom, and I guess her mom didn't. Her friend couldn't make it, so my buddy called me, and my mom and dad were cool with it because she was the baseball team mom or whatever, and took me, and I saw Derringer and Zeppelin and. Who else was on that bill? I forget. It was a Day on the Green, though. And I know I was like in 5th grade or something like that, going into 6th.
Wow.
And but I was really more into sports at that time. Didn't faze me. And then I think when Kiss came around when I was a kid, and Kiss and Aerosmith. When I heard Aerosmith, I think it was when I got a hold of Toys in the Attic when I was 7th grade, 6th grade, going into 7th or something like that. And when I heard Walk This Way and, No More, No More, and then got a whole, I think Kiss Alive 1, and I'm all going, oh, man, look at Peter Criss. Wow, even though Peter Criss is, anyway, he's not in my top 10. But
right.
But I said to myself, man, that would be like a lot cooler than being on a baseball team with, 30 guys and shit like that, right? I mean, I'd rather be on a team that had 5 guys. I'd have a lot more fun and get a lot more chicks too, So, anyway, it was probably when I first got a hold of an Aerosmith record and a Kiss record. That's when I, said, "Oh, this is what I'm going to be doing," and I know it, So
awesome. That's great. I like to hear. I've asked that question to a couple of people, but I just had to ask you, obviously. So, but I just added Desperate and Bad Blood to the set list networks. That's what we're going to play after we conclude our interview. But before we say goodbye, Jamey, first of all, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for calling into the show, and for you guys have always been, and I'm quite sure you always will be, so so fucking cool to me, and I appreciate that. You were really nice to me up when I came up north a few months ago, and you always put on a great show, and I'm so happy to hear that you're working on the new album, and it'll be out when it comes out. It comes out. Like I said, it takes time. Be looking forward.
Yeah,
to
we're thinking it's probably going to come out like in about a year from now.
Okay.
Like I said, the process it's a long process, but we're on such a creative roll right now that it's hard for us to even keep up with the ideas that we're coming up with. We got some killers right now. You actually heard one, I think, "Waiting on a Heartbeat" or something. I think that's the title of it or whatever. But we played that. We played a new one when you came up to see us at the compound.
Was that?
And it went over really good. Yeah, it went over.
Don't
good,
Ask Questions.
So.
Is that it?
It's called. No. Don't Ask Questions is an old song.
That's an old song.
It's a new song that we played. It's called "Waiting on a Heartbeat." So.
I remember hearing it, and everybody said yay, and then you guys were like, okay, keep her. I remember hearing it, and I apologize. Don't Ask Questions. I don't know where that came from, but I just know you played it that night.
Okay, well, it's called "Looking for a Heartbeat."
Looking for a Heartbeat. Okay, brother.
You know me. I don't pay attention to the lyrics. I don't worry. I'm just more about the music and shit like that. But yeah, that's what it's called. No, it's a good tune. I think Fresky and Derek pinned that one. We have another one that it's going to be amazing too. It's another one we have that's called "I'll Never Break," and that's going to be our crusher, I think, on the record. But like I said, we're in the middle of shaking out a bunch of ideas right now, so you can never really say this is going to make the record, because we might come up with 25 killer ideas, and 25 more or something,
So we got Looking for a Heartbeat. What's the name of the other one again? I'm sorry, Jamie. What's the other name of that other one you said? I'll Never Break?
Yeah, I'll Never Break.
Okay.
I'll Never Break Again. Yeah.
I'll Never Break Again.
And John and Derek actually pinned that song together, and actually John came up with the music and stuff, and then Derek kind of structured the whole thing and wrote the lyrics and shit. And oh my God, it's going to be amazing. It's an amazing tune right now. So yeah, if that one makes the cut, you guys are going to be pretty blown away. That's all I got to say.
And I believe every word of it, and I look forward to it, and I'm not a doubt in my mind that it'll be killer. So I mean, just absolutely. Got one last question for you. Did you enjoy the Johnny Walker?
No problem, man.
Did you enjoy the Johnny Walker?
Always.
I love it.
I got a lot of friends named Johnny.
I love it. This is freaking awesome. I'm so glad you called in. Hell yeah. My buddy Lewis, who actually came up there with me, one of the persons that came up there with me, he messaged me a little while ago and asked me what time you were calling in. And I said, noon, brother, straight up, high noon. Okay. So he's listening right now. He's a good kid. So he loves Babylon.
Right on.
You got anything you want to say? Anything you want to add on? Anything? You got the time, brother. So whatever you want to say before we close out.
It's just this whole ride with these guys. Even we're all a family. I mean, Danny, Rob, John, my brother, Derek, Ron. I mean, we're brothers, and we always will be and stuff. And I've had someone ask me the other night, what's it like, being, with guys like that all your life, and you're brothers. You love each other, you fight with each other, you party with each other. I mean, you go through trials and tribulations together and stuff. But these guys, like me, John, and Danny, we used to go to high school together. I met John in high school, and Danny and I used to hang out in high school and stuff, and go see Van Halen concerts together, and hang and stuff. So we've always been a pretty tight group of guys that played in rival bands, and and then we wound up in band, in the same band and stuff. And it's been an amazing friendship and brotherhood, and I couldn't ask for better,
Good. Right on. I'm happy to hear that. I really am. It's good. It's always good when you can look back and be proud of everything you've done, and look at and have so much to look forward to, and all that good stuff. And like I said, I'm just blessed to have met all of you, and to have a few of you here on my show, and to just to get to hang out with you every chance I get, and and I'll continue to do that. And if you're ever down here in SoCal, you're more than welcome to come to my studio. I mean, here on the college campus, I always take care of when my guests, they come down here, I feed them. We got plenty of drinks and all that good stuff. I just got to be careful what I say on the air because I don't want to get in trouble. You know, I don't need any help getting into trouble. I'm very capable of doing it myself. So, but
you were on campus.
What's that?
I said, you are on campus. You can't bring booze on campus.
No. I've never said anything about booze. See, that's the thing. That's what I try to see. We're old school, Jamie. We know how to get around stuff. And people say, well, wait a minute. You said that. And I said, I never said that. You did not hear me say that. That is not what I said. You got to learn.
What did you say? I didn't get that. What did you say? I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. But thank you again very, very much for calling into the show. I look
Sure,
forward to, you know, anything that you have to do, anything if you ever want to come on here again, you know, something you want to talk about, you got music you want to send me, anything. I don't care what it is. I really appreciate, you know, you and the rest of the guys just being just as awesome as you are, Jamie. And I just keep up the good work, keep believing in yourself, keep believing in what you're doing, and just remember that you've got one of, if not the biggest Babylon fan right here, brother, sitting here in my studio.
I appreciate that, man. I know that comes from the heart. I appreciate it. And I'm sure the guys do too, man.
Right on. Thank you so much, Jamie. And I've got Desperate coming up and then Bad Blood, and then we'll go from there. But those are great songs. Desperate really is, it's really weird, not weird, but it's really cool, I guess is a good word to use, that you like that so much, because, I mean, you got when the rain comes falling down and you're lonely as the night grows colder, don't worry. And I mean, it's just and then with Derek's voice, and then because it doesn't sound like your typical 1990 ballad, you know, we were hearing stuff like Every Rose Has Its Thorn and all that kind of stuff. Nothing against those.
Yeah, it's nostalgic. It's definitely nostalgic, you know. Hey, you know, there's also another version that we have that it's on Live in Your Face, and it's recorded live at the Whiskey. It was at the Roxy, actually. We played, and it was a little bit of a different version, but the crowd that night, I was like, it sold out. I remember playing that gig, and it was badass, man. I mean, that's a cool version too. You know, if you could throw that one up too, or if you want it, you know, people want to hear that version. I mean, it's a cool version. It's acoustic. It's a little bit more, you know, it's got a little bit more of you know, not a slower vibe, but it just has that acoustic vibe to it, you know, and it just came off really good, you know, and proud of that recording. Definitely. That's a lot. That thing was a lot of fun to do.
It's about 6 minutes long. That one? I just added
maybe.
it.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I'm gonna play both of them. I'm gonna play the studio. I'm gonna play Bad Blood, and then I'm gonna finish off with the live version of Desperate. So we're going to go from there, and then we'll just. But Jamie, like I said, thank you, brother, so much from the bottom of my heart. You know, you rock, brother. You're awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Lyle. I appreciate it, man. Anytime.
Great, and you know what? You have a great day, and many blessings to you and the rest of the band. Okay, and your family, of course.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, man.
God's blessings to you and your family.
You too, man.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, take care. Bye bye.
See you.
And here we go with the music. That was the great Jamey Pacheco, drummer for Babylon AD. And let's just keep going. Let's go with some Babylon. I got 3 songs coming up here, and we're going to listen to them, and we're going to have fun. Thank you so much. This is Tight Metal, and I'm your host, Lyle Style.